she unfortunately can't be with us today, as she has a pressing engagement which suggests that the government should acknowledge a structural dependence on migrants and establish the institutional framework necessary to develop medium and long-term migrant policies. Well, this is a good idea. Unfortunately, Thai government in recent years has not been very stable or progressive. We have no effective rule of law, especially when it comes to monitoring the situation for migrant workers. The current administration lacks any kind of vision for what is required of the Thai economy in the future, and therefore what is going to be the demand for migrant workers. Okay, we know that migrant workers operate under push and pull factors. Push from Cambodia, mostly poverty, wanting to earn some money. Pull from Thailand, the need for people to do the kind of 3D work that Thai people will not do for the money available. 3D is an ILO term. 3D, dirty, dangerous, disgusting. This is the work that Cambodian migrants, Burmese migrants, Lao migrants are expected to do for comparatively low wages. Thailand is based on the 3L economy: low wages, low skill, long hours. People in Thailand work, according to ILO figures, some of the longest working days in the world. I know from having done interviews with we did research with Lao workers who had returned from Thailand back to Laos. And asked them, why did you go back? I don't put other things related to that. One of the things that many people said, the Lao workers said, it's too hard working in Thailand. The hours are too long, we have to work every day, we have to work long hours, it's very difficult. Okay, so the working conditions are not generally good, but they're not good for anyone, unless you are high profile, I agree. Do you have the word fine again? Not challenge too much. There is at the moment, as we know, potential for large-scale class conflict in Thailand. If you want to talk about this further, kind of outside the scope of the presentation today, we can talk about this some other time. As a result, right, no one is articulating what kind of workers and what kind of work in Thailand is going to be available in the future. Things are just continuing as they already are. Okay, now when we look at the Thai-Cambodia relationship, we can see, as I'm sure you're all too aware, a, shall we say, mixed relations between Thailand and Cambodia goes from bad to very bad most of the time, right? Bad to not so bad. Okay, there are historical issues, there are territorial issues, there is a lack of discourse between the two countries. If I ask my students in Thailand, name one Cambodian person, maybe someone knows concept. Apart from that, no. Can you see any clear work? No. Even though two countries side by side never know anything about each other. Right? Don't know any people from Cambodia, don't know any words, cannot even say hello or goodbye or thank you. Which different from, for example, Western countries or European countries where we're surrounded by all kinds of people from different language groups and we cannot even say hello to each other. At the peasant level, or the working level, in terms of subsistence agricultural level, culture and language are quite similar. I'm told the language is similar. I am not expert in language, but you tell me the language is quite similar. Clearly, the cultural level is similar. Right? The way that people work on the land is similar. Subsistence agriculture, wet paddy fields, rice fields, etc., etc. What is the situation in Thailand since the 1950s? And in Cambodia for the last couple of years is moving to the East Asian economic model. Export-oriented, import substituting, factory manufacturing. Competitiveness is based on low-cost labour. How can you keep labour low cost? First, you have a large number of agricultural people feeding into the system. Supply is high, price is low. Secondly, if the workers start to complain or they ask for freedom of association, they want trade unions, In the past, in Thailand, we sent the army around back to shoot a few of them. Okay, now these days, not so easy to shoot people. It's not impossible, but not so easy, because everybody has mobile telephones, and if you can't shoot them, you can get a camera. So they can't shoot people. They can still intimidate workers, they can still open files on them, they can still summon them to the police, etc., etc. Okay, Thailand is at the point now where this East Asian Economic Model, EAEM, has reached the end of its utility. Other countries now compete better in these services, China and Vietnam especially, where the cost is going to be lower. In Thailand, the living costs have gradually increased for nearly everybody. Right? So trying to compete with this and making people work for less and less money, it's not going to be efficient. Right? They need to move to another type of economic model, the same way that they did in Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and some extent Malaysia, etc., etc. Okay, now under Thai government, that's 2001 to 2006, they had some vision for how to achieve this. Regional development through, like the OTOP campaign, the OTOP 1 product, and you have similar provincial level systems here, distributing resources to villages, etc., etc. Keeping the country open to globalization, but strengthening the region so that the region can buy more products. And that reduces vulnerability to the outside world. So when we have economic shock, if the regions are still buying stuff, it's not so bad. Okay, bear in mind that Thailand has to import nearly all oil and gas. And because of the amount of oil and gas imported and the reliance on exports and tourism, it is the most vulnerable country in Asia to economic outside shocks. Okay. Currently, since 2002 was the most recent legislation, these are the areas in which it is permitted for companies to hire foreign workers. There are these different sectors. Agriculture, not all kinds of agriculture, but some kinds of agriculture. Okay, so migration is permitted in certain sectors, and these sectors are linked to certain provinces. Okay, to be a registered worker, you are registered to stay in one province, and you are not allowed to move from that province. Okay, this is a system that goes back till the 1940s. In 1975, we had a number of Vietnamese migrants come across the Mekong, and they want to go back to the bullets to fight. And the Thai government at that time instituted province level. Right, you are registered for a province. You move outside the province, it is illegal. You can imagine, if you want help from the embassy, and the embassy is in Bangkok, and you ring them up and say, "Can you help me with this problem?" If they come to Bangkok, cannot. Okay, so here's a big problem for people. Right, these are the registered workers. Okay, now I'm going to go on and talk about unregistered workers in a minute. As you can see, the proportion in something like fisheries, marine fisheries, there are more foreigners than there are Thai people in the Thai fishery industry, etc., etc. Okay, now most of these are sunset industries, okay, in terms of the EAEM. They are not producing much added value. They're low value products. And these are the products that Thailand eventually wants to move out of and move into more high-tech companies, high-tech production. Okay? At the moment, they're staying the same. Some sectors will always be popular. There is always going to be a demand for domestic labour, because without domestic servants, the whole economy would collapse, because no women would be able to go out to work. And that would be the end of it. Every country in the world just about relies upon low-cost or free domestic labour from women to survive. Okay, in this case, what did we do? We didn't have much information on working conditions for Cambodian workers, so we treat this as a kind of exploratory research. We adopt semi-structured